All right, there is Sue Malik, maintenance and cats. Hi, Sue. Hi, Michael. I see lots of people in their little cameras that I recognize, so I'm really excited to see you guys. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for being here. We are going to be talking about a new program that we are introducing through the volunteer department this year. It is going to be something that's going to last all year long. If you are looking for a very tangible resolution for 2023, I know everybody's kind of got those same ones that they do, but they, don't always work out. So I'm hoping that this is a way that you guys can feel like you accomplished something this year while also being a part of the bigger goal of Michigan Humane and some of the things that we are really striving to work on in the next few years here. So we're going to give you a little bit of background on what that is, what Humane Communities is, as well as what this resolution program is going to look like for you guys. So let's go ahead. All right, so this first one here, what are humane communities? You may be hearing that from time to time, especially as we start ramping up a lot of the ways that we are working humane communities into what we do. You may hear that a lot. So a humane community is where humans and the humane meet, where the animals and the people behind the animals are getting more care. Our big goal is to create places where people can keep their pets at home and be well taken care of. So hold on one moment. I got some people coming in the room. Hold on. They're all flooding in. There we go. All right, there we go. So humane communities is really us trying to take care of the people behind the animals and the people who are part of our community, who are often working with us with their animals. So even though this looks like a little bit of a shift of us trying to do things out in the community and less in the shelter, what we're trying to do is make sure that those animals don't end up in our shelters. So trying to expand what we do with the community to help them with that. And the core of what we're doing is still going to be here, providing the best environment for every animal like we do in shelter as best as possible, but making sure that those places are also their homes and businesses and places in the community where they are best taken care of as much as possible. And it's going to be a little bit of a shift. This is a new way of thinking for shelters. We are very used to having animals in our care, taking the animals, no questions asked, and taking care of them the best we can. But what we're going to be doing is really shifting that focus into the community itself, because really we don't want your animals in the shelter. We want them to stay in a comfy, warm, loving home. And we don't want them to have to be here with us. We want to keep them there instead. So it's going to be a little bit of a shift, that the work is going to be happening a lot more outside of the shelter instead of inside. So we're going to be talking about how we can get different resources out to the community and helping people either monetarily with donations or physically with making sure that they have access to more things that help them with their pet or their family in general. We know a lot of times that families have to unfortunately make the decision to surrender an animal because other areas of their life are a little more important, and they can't make those choices really easily of saying, do I put food on the table for my kids or do I take care of my dog today? And that's really, really difficult for a lot of families. So what we want to do is make sure that we are providing those services as best as possible to people in the community. We're also going to be getting some new measurements of success. I know we talk a lot about how many animals got adopted, how many animals left our shelter. And while those are still super duper important, we also want to measure how many families did we help, how many animals did not come into our shelter because we were able to provide a lot of care and help for that family. So we're going to be also looking at those things that we can also be happy and successful with. And really creating a broader narrative. Let's talk about more things. And we're actually going to talk about that just here on the next slide when we discuss what our name change also includes. So you guys may have noticed we are now called Michigan Humane instead of the Michigan Humane Society. It's all right if we still make those mistakes from time to time. It's still on a lot of our paperwork and our clothing and things like that. It is a relatively new shift, but there's a really important reason as to why we dropped the society portion of our name. It's actually a threefold reason. And some of you guys may know this if you started recently. If you're not a recent volunteer who just started with us, you may not have gotten this in training. One of the reasons that we dropped society is it's a little bit of an elitist sounding term. Society sounds like it's something you need to be a part of, to join. And we want to make sure that we are accessible to anyone, regardless of their personal situation. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is because we're doing a lot more with people. When you think of humane society, the first thing that comes to mind is typically working with animals. And while we do that, we want to make sure that we are a place that people can come to for a variety of reasons. Their pet may be part of that, but there may be a bigger picture behind that as well. And we don't want people to dismiss, well, it's a humane society. They just do animals and stuff. I'm sure they can't help me, figure out how to pay my rent this month. And actually, we do have partners that can help with that. So we want to make sure that they feel like they can come to us more. And then the last reason is also we get confused a lot with other shelters that also have the name Humane Society involved with them. Quite often we have new volunteers come in and they're like, oh, I volunteered at, Huron Valley Humane Society. And while they're not under our umbrella, we still do support a lot of other humane societies and work in partnership with them. But we want to make sure that our name is recognized when we're doing a lot of this work as well. Jen, you go ahead. Let me unmute you real quick. There you go. Oh,
thank you. Was stuck muted again, but yeah, I just wanted to add to that. Our community solutions team has been really doing some fantastic work. So if you've got an opportunity to work out of the pantry or have been curious about it, just wrote about it this week in the newsletter. Maggie Priggy, our community solutions manager, has been working to find more resources for our pet owners. So when people come to us, yes, they have a pet, but there are other things that are going on in their life they're struggling too. Now, we might not be the exact person that can help with those solutions, but we're working really hard to build these partnerships, like Ashley stated, to make sure if you have an issue with your pet, but there's something else going on, like the housing, struggling to pay the rent or need new housing, or you're looking for counseling for your family, we now are finding these partners. So it's not just here's your pet and that's the only thing we can solve for you. Let us help connect you to these other resources so we can solve for the bigger picture, because really you can't care for your pet if you can't care for your own needs within your family. So that's what we're looking to do here, is not stop sheltering pets, not stop being part of the solution for animals, but how do we know that just taking care of the animal isn't enough. Now we need to figure out, how do we keep these pets into homes? We're seeing the length of stay really increase in the shelter. So it's more important to make sure that we are helping those families stay together. That's really, really important. So that's the work that our community solutions team is doing.
Thank you, Jen. That was really helpful. Thank you. Yeah, just a little bit on Maggie too. She does a absolutely phenomenal job. If you have not had a chance to go down to the pet pantry and help out, even just for a day, it is a very eye-opening experience. Our team has gone down there to work together just to see what's going on and see all the people that we can help on a daily basis. Absolutely wonderful. Maggie's wonderful. All the volunteers down there are wonderful. It is fantastic. And we'll talk a little bit more about the pantry itself as well as we move on. But really, we're in a special position with Michigan Humane. We are the oldest and largest shelter in Michigan. We are established. We have really good partnerships. We've been able to build things over this long period of time that we have been here in order to be at the forefront of some of these changes that shelters are trying to do to help their communities. So we really take this as a sense of pride that we have the ability to really support this type of work and be a front runner for a lot of this stuff too. So really, we're going to talk about some of these goals. And when we talk about humane communities, there's a selection of goals that we're trying to hit. One of those being to make the Detroit area the most humane community by 2030, which is a big goal, but I feel like we could really do it because we're doing a lot already to try and make this happen, probably more than some other communities are able to do. So again, we take really big pride in that. So our overall goal obviously is to keep families together. We know that as pet lovers, our pets are a big part of our family, and we want to make sure that they stay together. No family should be separated just for something, that they can't afford or something like that. We're not going to go super deep into a lot of these, but I do want to make them available to you guys. So some of our goals include making a healthy community. So we know that pet ownership can enhance the health of their owners. So we want to make sure that that's a part that we keep in mind, that we want those animals there because we want a healthier community too. Ensuring that everybody has the opportunity to benefit from pets, whether you are homebound or something like that. We want to make sure that you also have the opportunity to know that love and that care that all of us get to also enjoy by having pets. Creating pet friendly spaces. There's a lot of places that maybe don't have pet accessibility, and that also can be a factor when it comes to people not being able to keep their animal. If it's really difficult for them to have their animal and care for them in the space that they live in, that's not going to, help their ability to keep their animal. And providing pet owners with access to vet care. This is a big one as well. And also making sure that we have partnerships with human services as well. One of the things we'll talk about tonight is our One Health programs, which often care for the people at the same time, with Delta Dental being there, providing food for people at our events that are for caring for pets. So healthy communities is a big one. Safe neighborhoods, providing education for owners and what is proper in caring for your animal while you're out in the community with them is really important. Making sure that where they're walking their animals is safe. It's difficult to walk your animal outside if you don't feel safe. So that's a big one too. And then through human service partners, so connecting people with the services they need. So that's where we were talking about, maybe they show up and they say, I don't feel like I could have my dog anymore. And we ask why, what's going on? What is something wrong? What can we help you with? And they let us know that, oh, it's because of X, Y, and Z. We have some partners that'll help you with that. Why don't you contact these people first so we can try and help you keep your animal? So building those relationships is going to be really important too. Oh, whoa, that went all the way to the end. Hold on a second, guys. I don't know why that skipped to the very last slide. There we go. And then thriving workforce and economy. We've seen an uptick in this actually with COVID. A lot of workplaces have found that animals are beneficial and they're really important for what people make their decisions for work. So a lot more pet friendly environments for work are coming around, and how can we help support that with our partners and kind of give them education to bring that to, and introducing people to the career of veterinary work. It's a hard career and we need really good dedicated people in that. So how can we help provide easy pathways, like providing internships during the summer for people who are interested, even working with our volunteers. And if we find out that they are interested in veterinary care down the road, how can we get them some help to get started with that and provide that kind of easy route into that type of work, because we do need a lot of vet people in our world. And then eliminate those oh, go ahead, Jenna, you're gonna.
Oh, I was just going to say, I was going to add to this. So when you think about what are some of our members of our leadership team, what are some of the members of our leadership team doing? Like Matt Pepper, for example, a lot of his work is actually meeting with these partners and helping us change the narrative that we should be working together. It is not just an animal problem that we are trying to solve. We are trying to solve a community problem, some systemic issues that might exist. And the part of that is us bringing it together. How do we bring the human piece into the animal piece? Because now we know they're connected. There is always a person at the end of that leash. So really, really cool and exciting partnerships that we're trying to build this community.
Yeah, I recently attended a webinar that Matt was a part of, and it was talking about working with donors and companies to give to animal welfare that they typically wouldn't do. And maybe their work has nothing to do with animals, but it has to do with people, and trying to promote that side of it to these companies who have come to us over time and have really been like, wow, I did not know you guys did all this stuff, and we would love to help improve that. And this is a community we're maybe not reaching directly. So that was really informative for me too. And if anybody would like a link to that, I'm sure we can pass that along. It was really helpful for me to kind of understand why it's so vital that we have these corporate groups that come in and work in the shelters and volunteer with us and get to see the work we do. They come to the events. They're people attending the events as guests, as special guests for us to meet and greet and talk to. So they are really helping this along. Some of the services that we provide would not be possible without those people helping us along. So we really enjoy having them as help.
Every single person, every single touch point is an opportunity to build a relationship. All of you that are in this room with us are also advocates for the work that we do, and how important it is that we think about the bigger picture. That is what is going to save more animal lives. So this is why, again, we're so excited to share this information with you today. We hope you're feeling inspired by the end of this presentation.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are we doing currently? So some of the things that we're currently doing and we've been doing for a little while now to help our community right now, and there's going to be things added to this over time, but this is what we're doing currently. So our One Health events, which we will talk about, I think, in the next slide here, those are off pay what you can type of pull up and hand us your animal and get the services you need, either at the shelters or in the communities. So those are fantastic. If you have not volunteered at them, I know some of you in the chat or in the group have, but if you have not volunteered at them, they are a great way to feel like you made a huge difference. The people always leave so thankful. They tell us flat out, if I didn't have the service today, I didn't know what I was gonna do. And it's always so beautiful to be there. Another thing that we have is the pet pantry, which we do have a small pet pantry out of each of our shelters for people to pull up and say, do you have a bag of dog food? And if we do, we would love to give it to them and send them on their way. Everything that is donated from the community pretty much goes back into the community. Most of the stuff in shelter that we need, like food or litter for the animals, is provided by Purina, which is a wonderful partnership that we are able to have. So when people do bring donations into the shelter, they more often than not go right back into the community, which is phenomenal. We also sometimes provide pet pantries at our events. Our One Health events, we will have a tent with dog and cat food, and everybody gets a bag on their way out, regardless if they need it right then and there. We do have people that turn it down, but some people take it without question, and that's great. So we do provide those at events as well. And our pet pantry in downtown Detroit at the Judith Kaplan Pet Pantry has serviced 7,000 clients last year, which was absolutely wonderful. And that is largely thanks to our volunteers and the people who work down there. So thank you to everyone who's a part of that beautiful work that we do. Another thing that we have is our field services team, who help keep kind of an eye on our community. They are looking for different things with animals, but oftentimes if we roll up and we see something going on with animals, we can talk to the people with the animal and kind of find out a little bit more about their situation, provide education for them, provide them with items that they may need to help better care for that animal that we're seeing in the community. And we will have a piece with our field services team later this year as part of this program. We'll talk about those different things here in a minute. Also in shelter with education. So with you guys, every time we're part of these virtuals, you guys are learning more things and more tools in order to go out into the community and help support people. Also bringing people into our shelter for maybe it's a corporate group, maybe it's students from a college, maybe it's just people coming in for a tour, which they can do pretty much at any time they'd like. We provide as much education as we can to those people as well, so they turn around. Every time we have a corporate group, Jen, I'm sure you're the same way, they have a million questions and they always leave going, oh my gosh, I did not know you guys did all of this. How do I get more involved? And they usually come back as a normal volunteer too, which is fantastic. As well as providing education on the spot during adoptions and during surrender. So if we can help them not have to surrender their animal and give them education instead of how to do something more effectively with their animal, that's great. As well as when people adopt and providing information on simple things like what is heartworm and how do they care for it and how do they manage it? What is a certain type of cat illness? Providing them TNR training we offer for people too, to have trap, neuter, and return so that they can help cat colonies in their community. So we provide a ton of information wherever possible so that people can leave our shelters knowing even more, and hopefully passing that on to people that they know as well. And then redirecting them to partners for help, like we talked about. If they tell us they're struggling because of a certain thing, let's see if we can get them partnered up with one of our great partners that can provide food or sheltering services or support in that way. If we don't want to take their animal, we would like to give them something else instead to help them. And then law and advocacy. We have been, and Jen, you might be able to help a little bit more with this, but we have been really, really involved in a lot of lawmaking changes in Michigan, trying to be as connected with that as possible. We have a whole kind of department that works along with that and advocating for animals when it comes to making laws about how they are cared for.
Yeah, so I can add a little bit to that. So, Ann Griffin, our director of advocacy, does a lot of work each year as these things are coming up to be proposed, to be introduced to the parties, like should something pass. And a lot of the work that she does is looks at the laws because a lot of them are very vague about what standards of care should be for Michigan animals. So a very common example that comes up is, you know, animals are required to have access to food, water, and shelter while they're outside. And that is essentially all that the law speaks to. So, we do work to try to provide and to change up the lingo in the laws so there is more clarity for animal control officers. So it helps them do a better job of educating pet owners in the community or giving them clarity of when they need to take more action or how they can intervene with a pet. So that's just one example, but she is constantly looking over what are they saying, and when it doesn't say what we want it to say, how do we try to change that narrative again? So we're looking at it from a legal standpoint too, because there are definitely a lot of laws when it comes to pets in the state of Michigan. They are considered property, so it's not always simple when it comes to finding a solution, or when we do see true cruelty and neglect. There are a lot of steps that we have to take before an animal can be removed. So those are things that she's looking into for our team to make sure, again, part of the bigger picture, how are we tackling animal homelessness and keeping pets in home from all the possible angles?
Thank you, Jen. That was really helpful. And we're going to talk about all the topics that we will be talking about throughout the year as part of this Humane Communities Resolution Program. And one of those topics is law and advocacy. And we're hoping that Anne can be a part of that one and talk a little bit more on the direct work that she has been able to do. All right, so here's where we're going to talk about just a little bit more about our One Health events. This is a super easy, accessible way for you guys to start feeling like you're doing a portion of this work with Humane Communities, is just getting involved with our One Health events. These can happen either at the shelter, as you see in the picture here. We've got a volunteer taking names for registration at our Mackey Center. In the line, you can see lots of people coming to get help, quite a long line of people with sometimes several animals in each vehicle. Last year, we serviced more than 1,800 pets and 1,100 families. So you can see several pets per family showing up at these events to get a pay what you can vet clinic. So we provide vaccines, microchips, spays and neuters, and then education on the spot as well, as much as we possibly can. A lot of times at these events too, we provide, like we said, food for from a small pet food pantry at this location. Sometimes our partners, depending on where we are and what they can come to, we have them come as well. So I think at our Marygrove one, we had people doing nail trimmings for people in the community. Dog tags were being provided by Detroit. I know we had a couple other, we had diabetes checks for their humans while they were there to see how they're in blood pressure, and Delta Dental coming and doing some teeth cleanings for humans while their animal was getting cared for. So a lot of times these are various things that are happening just even outside of the pet realm. So these are wonderful. And we need volunteers for a variety of different roles: directing traffic, talking with and signing in guests, loading the food up into their cars, providing support to their partners. So, the people who are doing the nail trimmings, do they need water bottles and things like that as they're doing that hard work. And really that's been a great way for volunteers to kind of build relationships with other partners that we have. I have some volunteers that I know help out with dog aid now because they met them at one of our One Health events. So they expanded what they're able to help with as a volunteer, which is beautiful too. I
Yes.
think, I think our first one's coming up in April. Yes.
Yeah, I don't have the exact date yet, but it's definitely slated for April, and we hope to host these through the summer again, and into the early fall, because we know, again, this is a huge way that we can practice keeping pets in homes. It's really difficult to find affordable and have access to vet care as well. It's if anyone has recently tried to get their pet into an appointment, there's a wait time, and it's really tough now. Even if an emergency situation arises, you're really kind of going to emergency vet clinics at this point. So this is something that our organization is really committed to, is meeting people where they're at and making sure we're offering services at an affordable price. We know that the kennels are full at the shelter. So what else can we do to tackle the problem outside of our doors? And this, again, like Ashley said, is a fantastic way to get involved. If you're like, how else can I be a part of the solution? This is one of the ways. This is a great place to be an advocate and a representative, and you still get to interact with animals a ton. There's so many animals and smiling owners. We need people to help hold pets while owners are filling out paperwork. At the last One Health event, we had a truck, not a truck, but a vehicle full of puppies come. So we had like a little puppy parade going to the vaccine tent, and we needed extra holders for that. So it is a really, really good time. I promise you, come out, especially in the summer when the sun is shining. It's just really great. You leave feeling so positive afterwards. And it's just a different perspective on the work that we're doing, and these pet owners that are out there that really, really care deeply about their animals. And there's a whole different variety of people that come to us with different needs. So some people, the need is extremely great, and some people maybe not as much, but they're also grateful for the services and glad that there are opportunities that are kind of lessening the burden in other areas of their life for them. So it's a lot of fun, and hopefully this is something you guys will be interested in.
Yeah, and I'd like to just reiterate that this is open to any volunteers. There's not, besides maybe helping inside the clinic, there's not any like prior knowledge that you guys need besides just wanting to be helpful and wanting to talk well to people. So this is open to anybody. So if you ever see one of these come across, feel free to reach out to us and ask questions, but you're welcome to sign up. And the One Health events is open to anyone who needs care as well. So if you or someone you know needs is having a hard time paying for something, send them to one of these events and get them involved with this. And then they may be able to build a relationship at this shelter and have a place that they can trust and come back to and know that they'll get serviced well. So just know that anyone can come to these as a guest as well. So a couple other things that volunteers can do just to go ahead and get started to be a part of this are to educate yourself. Being a part of this is a great way. We're going to be providing a lot of information for you guys in the coming months. Asking questions in your communities to find out what else needs to be done. I know that's not for everyone to be a part of like local government meetings and things, but some people really do. And a lot of the work is done there. If you're bringing up topics that people have never thought of, if you're championing for specific laws to be passed that affect animals or affect domestic abuse in animals or things like that that are really important for you to be a part of, that's a great way. And we will be talking about more of that when we reach our advocacy topic this year. And then volunteering at community events and our pet pantry. It doesn't even have to be our community events, just community events in general. That's another way. You guys are volunteers. We know you enjoy this. If you are ever looking for additional resources, our team are volunteer coordinators. We are in the middle of a lot of what other volunteer topics are happening around Michigan. Please feel free to ask us what else we think is a good thing that you might want to be a part of, because we do have access to that information. We'll love to share that with you. I know we recently started sharing a couple little things. If you are on our Facebook page, we shared a pretty simple one, but making bandanas for the dogs that work at Care House, which is for children and families in abuse situations, and they have dogs that come in. So we're trying to kind of give you guys some other things like that too, that maybe you can get involved with outside of us when things like the flooring at Berman are happening and you're looking for other things to keep yourself busy or something like that. So it doesn't even have to be with us, but we can be a good resource for you guys to find other things to help with. And then always be a good pet owner. So taking care of your pets, showing others how you can take care of your pets, sharing your own stories with people that are feeling like, I could never do that. I hear a lot of those with volunteers in shelter, and I always love that experience when guests come up and they're like, I just never thought I could get them in for an appointment or something. And I took my pet to this specific place and they got them in and it was great. And I thought I could never do it either, but it worked. I love hearing that from the volunteers. So being able to be confident in that, and we're going to provide you with some of that as well. But making sure you kind of know that information so you can help others as well. So we're going to help you guys know that and educate you with that information. So here's where we're going to get into the thick of what this Humane Communities even is, now that you know what we're talking about when we say Humane Communities. So this resolution program that we are working on providing for you guys is going to happen every month. It's going to be a topic of each month is going to have its own topic, and we're going to be sharing as many resources that we have available to us for you guys to be a part of this. So each month we'll go through the topics here, and then I'll show you what this kind of will look like. So next month our topic is taking care of those who work in animal welfare. That includes you and your fellow volunteer, as well as staff and people outside of our own shelter, and how you can work better with them and build those relationships between people. So that's going to be next month. We're going to talk about community vet care. At each of these, we're going to have a guest speaker from our shelter in some part of the organization who is pretty much a pro at this topic and helping give us some additional information on what they specifically do, and hope to build those relationships so you guys recognize more of our team, you know, what the work they're doing is and how important it is, and possibly ways that you can help their specific topic as well. So community vet care, that's going to be talking a lot about those One Healths and the things that we provide for people in the community. Kitten season in the shelter, it's on its way. It's almost here. As soon as weather gets warm, we see an influx of kittens in the shelter. This is going to be not only about kitten season and what you guys can do to help us with that, but also providing education on things like getting your animals fixed, bringing them in for that process at the shelter, as well as our trap, neuter, release, and things that we provide for the community to hopefully lessen how many kittens are being born every single year. In May, we're going to be talking about how to be a Michigan Humane representative in the community. So providing you guys with tools to properly talk to guests as well as people at events, and also outside of that too. If people know that you volunteer at Michigan Humane, they probably have questions for you. I know that I get that all the time. I get people reaching out with lost dogs and things like that. So we're going to provide you guys with some details of how to deal with those conversations when they come up, how to provide them the proper route to deal with that situation that they're dealing with, and who to turn them to specifically. So that's going to be in May. In June, euthanasia decisions. We know this is unfortunately part of the overall animal welfare process, and we want to make sure that we give you guys a space to talk about it in an appropriate manner, but also making sure that you get to talk about it. We know it's hard on everyone, so that's going to be a really, I think, hard one, but very important for us to discuss, because we know that talking about grief is important as well. July, animals and human wellness. How do our pets make us healthier? What is really important on working with our pets and people in the community? Again, that piece of providing spaces for people to have their pets and exercise with them and walk with them, and how we can help them be healthier as people, as well as how they help with mental health. We want to make sure that everyone has access to knowing that love of a pet, especially if they're in a hardship. If you've ever had a hard time and your pet has come and laid now down next to you, immediately they help you make you feel better. So we want to provide that for people, especially those who are in hardships. Commitment to learning more. We're going to give you a lot of resources and books and sharing stories from our team about different things that they've come across and how they've learned from it, and hopefully even get some volunteers involved with that process too and share some of their stories too. In September, we're going to talk about protection and education, and hopefully have a member of our field service team talk about that, or at least someone who's close to it, to really understand that process. I know everyone in the shelter probably knows animal control's coming in, doing stuff. They bring animals to us. We have court case animals in the shelter. But how much do you guys actually get to talk to people and know what that process looks like? And not just cruelty investigation and animal control, but also the services we're providing to help keep those animals in homes. October, we're going to talk about becoming an animal advocate. This is when we'll be talking more about those laws and how they get involved in government level situations to help with animal welfare. In November, we're going to be talking about supporting those in tough decisions, or in tough situations, and those who unfortunately do have to make the decision to surrender their animal. How do we help them, and how do we provide proper information? That is not an easy role for our staff who work in that role. We're going to have some of them speaking with us about specific situations that they've come across, and how they dealt with it, and how it made them feel, and how it made the person feel, and how it just kind of comes together and either turns out to be a great story where they were able to give them care and send them back home with their pet, or maybe not, and how we can help them further anyway. So that's going to be a really good, maybe still a little straining on the heart topic. And then in December, we're going to be talking about supporting those who support animal welfare companies, and just different groups alike. It's December. People are going to be looking potentially for ways to get gifts to their families. So maybe you would like to know some companies who do a lot to support animal welfare that you want to contribute to and buy your products from, or something like that. And hopefully we'll have some input on that from our team who works closely with those type of companies as well. So those are our overall topics. What you guys will be getting each month. Oops, let me see here. There we go. You're going to be seeing something like this come across your email, as well as on the social media Facebook page for you guys to be a part of. So it'll have our month's topic, a couple of ways that you can help with that topic, and then some websites, articles, different things that you can get involved with at home, as well as maybe some books or things to help you continue that work from wherever you are. And then our webinar that we will be giving each month. So this is going to change every month to have different things on here, providing resources as much as we can for you guys. You may not be able to attend the webinar, but maybe you can check out an article to learn more. So this is going to be kind of a one-stop shop for you guys to find everything you need for that topic this month, and to be involved with us to do this every single month. So, and then, oh, actually there was supposed to be, I think, a slide in the middle here. There we go. I got them a little switched up, but you guys will also be able to be a part of our volunteer punch card. That is going to be a part of this too. We will have these provided for you guys soon. But if you are able to be a part of these webinars, or be able to show us that you did something for your community, or you learned something new 8 times throughout the year, then you will be entered into a giveaway for your unique experience. And those, I don't know, Jen, do you want to talk about them right now at all, or you want to kind of hold off and make it a secret?
Um, let's hold off. Let's hold off.
Okay.
We'll talk more about it at our next, as we go into more of the into the next meetings. You think?
Yeah.
Or share it in the newsletter. That would be another
Share it
good
in the
place to
newsletter.
talk about it.
Yeah. So we're hoping to get some really fun ways for you guys to benefit from being a part of this educational program with us, showing us that you're dedicated to this kind of work and you really want to be a part of it and learn more. So this is kind of our way to say thank you. And I promise it'll be really exciting when you guys hear about what it is. Sorry, just a couple. Oh, and let me go back to the one I missed. The other thing that we would like to talk about tonight, a really simple way that you guys can get involved in learning more and being a part of this process, is to complete your fear-free certification. And we've had, I wish I would have put the number on here, but we have had a lot of people complete this for volunteering this year. And it has been beautiful. Every time someone completes their certification for fear-free, they say it is absolutely eye-opening, wonderful. So if you don't know what Fear Free is, it is a program they provide it for shelters, as well as doggy daycares and veterinary offices. And what we would really love is for all shelter employees and volunteers to be certified, because it really shows that we have a dedication to providing a service for animals that is as free as possible of fear and stress and frustration, and trying to make the experience at a shelter as stress-free as possible. So there's wonderful videos in this training. Sometimes you don't always get to see how to handle an animal in person if they're not acting a certain way. This is a great way to see it and then see the correct way to do it. And then when you guys do complete it, just let us know and we will get to add a cute little award to your service profile, which didn't realize till recently that every time you log in, or at least the first time you log in, it like gives you this like big celebration when you log in for your shift, which is really fun. And we get to call you out. We get to call you out in the newsletter. We get to call you out on social media and show the hard work and dedication that you're spending time trying to do better, which is always great. You can get signed forms, pre-signed forms from your coordinators at Detroit or Westland. If you are not on site, we can send these to you. All you need to do is fill it out. You don't need any other proof like your photo or anything like that. And you just upload it so that they know that you are involved with a shelter location, so that you can go through the certification process. It is just videos. It's a little lengthy, I will say, especially if you're a person like me who takes notes on everything. It may take you a little while, but you can stop and keep going. Don't have to do it all in one sitting. And everyone that like I said, has talked to, has said it's just been absolutely wonderful, and they would love for everyone to be a part of it. As you can see from Barb's little quote on there, she's a wonderful volunteer, and she told me, I wish everybody would be able to do this. So she learned a lot. Even being a 25-year volunteer, she said she learned a lot. So if you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out to us.
I think this is a really great program too, to kind of help us recognize from the animal's perspective what they are going through every time they come into a new environment. So we're focusing on the shelter, but anytime they come into a new environment, how stressful that really is and what that does to them and what it looks like, and how we can be better as people to recognize how they're feeling emotionally and make sure that they're having that best experience possible. So thinking about it again from the animal's perspective, I think a lot of times we make the mistake of thinking about it from a human perspective and what we think is going to help an animal feel better in certain situations. So this kind of really helps break it down into thinking about things differently. And it's just been great because even my 12 years with the organization, there's been so many shifts into how we interact with animals. In the shelter environment or in our homes when we're fostering, how do we really help them adjust and become their best selves and feel most comfortable and give them the best shot at adoption? So I think that's why this is such an impactful training tool. And the best part is it's free. It's free to all of us. So
Yes, and we actually have a great question in the chat from Emily, if this is available or beneficial to foster-based volunteers. Both of those, I would say yes, it is available to you guys. Anyone who is involved in a shelter in general, regardless of whether or not they come into the shelter physically, is able to complete this service. And I think it would be really beneficial to fosters, because I'm sure you would know, as a foster, they are really stressed out a lot of times. A lot of times those are the guys who have medical needs. They're changing environments to go to your house. So kind of knowing what they're dealing with is really important. And I do think Fear Free does a really good job of covering both dogs and cats. And I know Barb is one of my volunteers who actually completed there's an additional training on there too for specifically cat enrichment opportunities and ideas of how to work with cats that way. So there is additional training specifically for that. So yeah, I think it would be really beneficial. I don't know why I assumed Emily had a cat. It doesn't say that. I'm just now realizing that I just jumped to cats for no reason. But it does do both, and it's really, really helpful for anybody who has animals. I think, and they also, outside of the Fear Free for shelters, the certification itself, they do have something called Fear Free Pets, which is its own website. Also, it's the same thing, but it's for just people who have pets. They have tons of resources and webinars and stuff on there as well. So if you're just looking for a topic, you can literally go on there and say, how do I help my animal with this? And they probably have some information on it, which is awesome as well. All right, so thank you, Randy, for saying you thought it would be beneficial. I'm glad you chimed in there because you have taken it. So that's great. Thank you. All right, we can. There's one other question that I'll just go ahead and answer right now too, is that how do we get the punch card? We're going to be working on creating those physically for you guys. But you'll also be reaching out to us so that if you can't make it into the shelter or something, we'll keep track in your service profile of how many things you've attended and done, so that we can get you a punch card and at least know that you have been completing these. So as soon as we have the little punch cards all made up and cut out and ready to go, we will let you guys know when you can come in and pick those up if you would like. All right, let's go ahead and finish up our
we could
last.
also send it out too through email, and you guys could print out your own. It's kind of a tracker for yourselves. Just a fun way to see how many of these sessions are you able to take part in throughout the year. So just a fun way to keep us all on track with our humane resolutions.
That's great. I didn't even think of that. You're smart. Just print it out too. I know some people would like their little kind of card stocky ones, so that's okay too. So just a couple key takeaways of this whole humane communities piece. Like I said, this is something we have been working on. I know we haven't probably talked about it a lot in the volunteer space, but that's why we're doing this and trying to get it in your realm of knowledge more. It's a marathon. It's definitely not something we're going to be seeing a ton of change in a day. It's going to take a lot of time to get a lot of people on board. It's going to take a lot of time to get whole communities, whole states, and the whole United States as a whole on top of this, in being a part of this program. But we want to make sure that we are sharing those resources as much as possible so people can see, wow, they really did it. They did a great job and they're supporting their community so well. So it's going to take some time. And it takes commitment too from everyone involved. So that's why having our volunteers as part of this is really important to us. We want to make sure you guys are on the same page as us, as well as given the same tools to be advocates for animal welfare. And then champion for what we do starts on the inside. If we are supporting what we do, people on the outside are going to feel that too. They're going to go, wow, those people really care about what they do. They really feel this sense of pride in what they're doing. And I want to trust them and know that they're going to do what they need to help me. And then just being a good pet owner and setting an example, volunteering with us and others in the community, and then just continuing your own education with us and helping educate others with kindness. Of course, we want to make sure that we're the people that they want to come back to. Providing proper, kind education to people is going to make them want to do more too. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead. This is a photo, just so you guys know, this is a photo from that last One Health that we were talking about where we had the puppies. This is like perfect timing because you brought that up. You can see some of our volunteers and staff checking people in, people from the community bringing their animals to get vaccines or whatever situation that they're looking for with us. So we have a variety of people helping in a lot of roles. You can see the mobile healthcare van in the back where they were doing their blood pressure checks and things like that for people who were coming to. So this is just a small little glimpse of what that whole huge yard that we were using looks like at Mary Grove campus. So we're going to go ahead and open up to any questions you guys have. You can either put them in the chat or you can raise a hand and we'll unmute you guys. But if you have any questions on either what this process is, humane communities, or the service that we do, I'd be happy for us to answer that right now.
Questions about how you might get involved, anything that we covered that didn't make sense. Randy, go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we got you.
I took that picture
Oh, was that you? Oh yeah, with my camera.
with your camera.
Yeah.
Anyways, this week or the other day, I watched that interview with Matt Pepper, and
Oh,
he went. Did you see that interview at all?
yes.
I would highly recommend it with Pets Alive. They
Yeah.
interviewed him, and he went through a lot of this, of what we do and what we're gonna do.
That's a great, that was actually perfect timing. So thank you for bringing that up. We can share that to the social if we haven't already, so people can get it there. And maybe we can include a link on the newsletter next week for them.
Yeah, I sent a link to Jenny so she could watch the interview. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for that. Any other questions, anybody? Let me see, let me scroll through everyone here.
Another thing too about the punch card I'll add is it's kind of an on your system. So again, the punch card is just a fun way for you guys to be able to track it, but you can also let us know. We'll be tracking obviously anybody who attends these, and you can let us know if you've attended. We'll probably have a way like to mark this in service. So an award for people who attend these humane resolution meetings, just to learn more about how you can give back and the work that we're doing. Again, just this is all about us being the best advocates we can be for animals and being part of a bigger community and team. That's something our team is really working hard on this year and over the last year, is how do we feel more as a family and a team as the volunteer department. It's not just one or two people. It really takes a team of us to do this work. We want you to know that we are committed to you just like you are committed to us, and we couldn't do this without you. So again, the punch card is kind of on your honor system, but it's just really just a way to help us feel excited about this work and learning more.
Yeah. We have a question in the chat from Donna, just to repeat how to get started with fear-free training. So each of the locations, Detroit and Mackey, at the coordinator's little office area, we do have pre-printed the application that you guys need. It's really easy. It's just like your name and the shelter you work with and the location of the shelter. The only thing that you need from us is a signature on the bottom from whoever it's like your boss or your coordinator or whoever is helping your process. So there are some pre-signed ones at each location from me and Shailene. At Westland, they are on the clipboard by the kiosk check-in. I think they're underneath the newsletter that's on the clipboard. So there's some under there. You can just take one. We can also help you if you need to scan it back in. We can do that at the shelter for you if you don't have access to doing that. So feel free to just stop in and ask us for one of those or ask for help, and we'll get you guys started with that.
We could also email you, Donna, you bring up a good point. For anybody who's attended, we can send out like a thank you email afterwards and include some of the links about the things that we talked about in today's program. And we can include a scanned copy with a signature on it already for us. So all you would need to do is fill out your portion and upload it right to Fear-Free's website. So we can include how to get started with Fear-Free on the follow-up email from this, including the link with the form that you would need. And if you need help with putting it in, you can scan it back to us and we can set up a time to do that with you. So great question. Thank you.
Yeah, Randy, I see your hands raised again. Go ahead and unmute there.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm non-technical, so.
It's okay.
I do want to add though, I'm fear-free certified, so I highly recommend it to everyone. So to all the new volunteers that are here that I don't know, I do a lot of these events all summer, the One Health events. They're very rewarding. Everybody that comes to our events with their dogs and their cats, everybody has a smile on their face. And they're very, very appreciative of our service. Like this one here, this picture of Mary Groves College, all of our events are wonderful and fun. So I highly recommend trying to volunteer at one of our events, our One Health, or any of our events, because they're all a lot of fun.
Yeah, they really are. And I even as a worker who sees you guys all the time, I love going out to the events and just getting to talk to different volunteers, different people. You guys get to meet staff that maybe you've never met before, and just to find out what they do, and just being a voice for the work that we do. It is honestly is a lot of fun. I'm sad when I don't get to go to an event. They're a lot of fun. So thank you, Randy.
It's like it's camaraderie. We're a team.
Yes. Yeah.
And we make a huge difference doing these, and it's very important.
Donna said we can ignore her hand raise. She's not techie either.
Thank you, Donna. Anybody else? Let me check through here, see if anyone else has their stuff raised. Go ahead and throw anything in the chat too if you can't get your little hand raised up at all.
And also, if you are like me, I am a person who needs to take in information, sit with it for a while, think on it, and then I generate my questions. I am not an on the spot person. So when we send out that follow-up email to all the attendees who attended tonight, feel free to respond to that with any questions or things that come up. The conversation doesn't stop here, doesn't stop today. You can reach out to us at any point if you have questions or think of something like, I think we can make an impact here. We want to hear that from you. All voices are important. We may not be able to act on it right away, but it's something we can tuck away in our pocket. And when that time is right, bring that out. Or it could be something we can activate right away. So we won't know unless we hear that information. So please keep the good conversation coming.
There was something else I was going to say. Oh my gosh, I just blanked. That email is going to also include some other links as well. It'll have the Fear-Free, as well as our Facebook group, if you haven't had a chance to join that and see where a lot of this is happening and where we're going to be sharing photos from all of these different events and things, that you'll be able to see how they work. That'll also have some links to different parts of our website if you're interested in like the advocacy piece or something, just some different ways that you can see the services that we provide. So it'll have a couple different links on there for you guys. If you have any questions about any of those, please ask. And then the paper little form, let me actually go back so you guys can see where it is. Hold on. This right here, this little like infographic about the next topic will be sent out the first week of the month, hopefully, on our socials as well as in the newsletter, so that you guys have access to this for the whole month. So you can hopefully, you know, get that topic taken care of and be part of that for that month, and know when the webinar for the month topic will be too. So, all right. Well, if you don't have any other questions, thank you guys so much. This was a great turnout, and I'm very happy to have. Oh, Charlie, I see you got your hand up. Go ahead. I think you have to click on mute. Hold on one second here.
Mm.
There you go.
Hi, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
Hi, yes, I wanted to say that I've been with MH for a moment, so I've had the experience to volunteer we did all the pet pantry, the One Health clinics, also at I Love the Bark in the Park at Tiger Stadium. I think Randy, I see you there. I know you there most of the time, and I volunteer with you, and also with the telethon. So I've have volunteered definitely with a lot of the services, and I am going to be seeing you, Jennifer, Sunday for the positive training. So
Yay, that's so exciting. Looking forward to it.
to get back with the dogs. I started out as a dog walker, and I sort of miss the doggies now.
Well, we're excited to have you back. I'm looking forward to it. It's so much fun when I get to spend a whole 2 hours just hanging out with the doggos.
Yeah, and I also have my fear-free certification. Thank you, Ashley. I do apologize. I mean, I didn't look on the Facebook page.
You're fine. You know what I think actually happened is I think that we went ahead and put it in the newsletter, and when we made a copy for the next week, I thought it was old, so I took it out to put another person
Okay.
in. So we got you in there this week. So thank
Okay,
you
well,
so much
thank you
for doing
anyway. I
that.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for completing it as well. I hope you learned something valuable out of that. All right, let's see. Donna says she's excited. Yay! I'm glad to hear you're excited.
Yes,
We are
thank
too.
you. I mean, we're just so thrilled to have you guys joining us tonight. You know, when we first started having these meetings, we're like, no one's gonna ever want to attend and listen to us. So this is just fabulous to have you guys here, knowing that you are supporting from all angles. It's just so heartwarming. You really help us come back every day and do our jobs better and stronger. So thank you.
All right, cool. All right, thank you guys so much. We're going to go ahead and sign off here. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at any time during this whole process. So thank you guys, and I hope you have a great night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I'll probably stop your recording, Ashley.
That's what I accidentally clicked something different and I don't know where it went. Hold on. There we go. Stop recording. I stopped